For a relative newcomer to New Hampshire, Lily Tang Williams did quite well in the 2022 Republican primary for the 2nd Congressional District, garnering almost 25% of the vote. She's hoping to use that base of support to win the nomination and take on Congresswoman Annie Kuster next year. Lily Tang Williams is our guest this morning on Close Up. Thanks for being here, Lily.
Thank you for having me, Adam. This is my first time to be in your studio. It's glorious here.
Right. I know we had that wacky COVID year where we weren't able to do it, so we're glad we can have you in studio. So you really outperformed expectations in 2022. How do you take the next step and win the nomination and take on Annie Kuster in 2024?
I want to thank everybody who actually voted for me, and I appreciate their support. I think that my campaign is really about the people, the grassroots. I'm not that partisan person. My campaign slogan is that I don't want our country becoming like the country I left. I want to keep the American dream alive. I think that message resonates with lots of independent voters who are not very partisan, so they supported me. And I want to take that to next level because with what's going on in the country and the division, and so I feel like I want to send a very positive, unifying messages to the people of New Hampshire.
One of the issues that people have strong opinions about one way or the other is not an issue, but a person, Donald Trump. He arguably played a role in 2022, even though he wasn't on the ballot himself. Obviously, there are a lot of people who love him in New Hampshire, but there's a big chunk of the population that is not going to vote for him no matter what. A lot of Republicans are coming out and saying he's damaging their chances of winning elections in New Hampshire. Do you agree?
Well, and I get this question a lot, and because we have lots of presidential candidates come to our state, which is great. It was the first one, in the primary. We get all that, opportunities. I go to everybody's event. I listen to them just like everybody else. I'm open-minded, but I tell people I'm focused on my own messages, my own race. I stay neutral on all presidential candidates, but I will go to their events to campaign for myself. But I will support our Republican nominee. I let the people of primary voters to decide.
What about the conduct that is alleged in this latest Trump indictment, having classified documents, not giving them back to the government when they ask for them back, and allegedly, waving them around in front of civilians? This is top secret information. Do you defend that conduct?
Well, I'm open-minded about the evidence, and I'm sure it's just the indictment, but it's not a conviction. And that's my number one view. I'm open-minded to see the evidence. And secondly, I have been very worried about the state of our country because, my American dream includes rule of law. That means the equal application of the laws and equal protection for everybody, every citizen. But I have seen this kind of politicalization of going after to former President Trump. I'm kind of worried about that because I saw what happened. I have long-term memories, what happened to Hillary, what happened to Joe Biden, his documents, but lots of issues, questions were not even come up or not covered. So I think a journalist got to cover them equally and ask their questions and dig into the details so people can have fair and balanced information to make decisions themselves.
Let's talk about some issues. Obviously, abortion was a huge issue in the last election, and we're coming up on the one-year anniversary of the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. You said during the last election that you support the idea that states can now decide what kind of abortion laws they like to have. And in our Granite State debate, you said you would not support any kind of federal law for or against abortion. But more Republicans are calling for some kind of national solution for Congress to act. Has your thinking evolved at all on this as theirs has?
Actually, my message on this has been very consistent. It's no longer a federal issue. If we truly decide, let's say what is murder, what is not, it's all at the state level. That's why the Supreme Court gave back to the state. And that's the most democratic way to decide in your own state. What is murder, what is not, and what penalty should be. So I think it's a federal issue. I respect our state laws right now, which is, actually Ann Kuster and I on this issue, I'm going to hold her to it. She said that she supports legal abortion until viability. That means that she should not also call some Democrats calling for, they codify, the abortion rights at the federal level. It's no longer a federal issue. So we need to stay with the people of New Hampshire and let them to decide.
This idea that Democrats support abortion, quote unquote, up until birth. Do you have evidence that that's happening at all here in New Hampshire?
I did not say some states do. and they have laws in the books right now. And the New Hampshire, even though we have 6 months ban, but there is always efforts to overturn that and to ask people to, trying to make lots of excuses and for even 6 months. When you look at the Western countries, average is actually 12 weeks to 15 weeks. I talked to a Democrat, actually a friend. He said he's a photographer. He goes hired by people to go show pictures, videos of their unborn, like dead inside, to have a memory. He even said, viability sometimes can be moved up to even earlier because modern technology allows baby to survive outside the mother's body. So we need to focus on both lives, but most important, we need to educate people, let them have a well-informed choice, and also promote adoption. There's so many choices besides just have to choose abortion,
Growing up in Maoist China gave you a unique perspective, different from a perspective that a lot of people here in New Hampshire have. And you say you've seen concerning parallels between what you experienced in communist China and some concerning trends here in the United States. Lately, you've drawn this link over transgender issues. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I think that I saw the tactics very worrisome. It's always identity politics. At the beginning, it was CRT, it was racism, and the people of color. And then later, it's unvaccinated. Then later, now, is the transgender rights. I'm just afraid our parental bill even failed to pass in New Hampshire. And Biden come out to say, hey, they're our children. No, our kids belong to parents. I'm the one who gave birth to our kids and change their diapers, feed them, take them to see doctors, educate them at home. They belong to parents. That's a big difference between communist country, socialist country with America. So I'm very worried about that trend. That people think your parental rights stop when your kids go to schools. No, they don't stop. It's fundamentally human rights, inherited rights that your children belong to you, but there is already a place to protect the abused children, and you can file complaint, you can call Child Protection Service. But I think right now I feel very sad. Granite State failed to pass parental rights bill. We'll have to try to pass it again, because we can have dialogue, conversations about protect our kids, but most parents are good parents. I don't believe parents are incriminated by the narrative of the radical left. Oh, they're bad parents, therefore we don't want them to know what's going on in our schools. I have a parent who is actually half Filipino. She said, my kids come home, change the pronouns. I'm moving them out of public school, have no choice. So I think we need to really have conversations about this and also educate parents what's going on in schools. This division is very similar to tactic in China. Weaponize the children and get them to against their parents, don't trust families. And where do they go? They go to state and they go to special interests. It's very, very actually similar.
Just a little bit of time left. Ann Kuster is going for her 7th term, perhaps, in this upcoming election. How do you defeat her when she's won so many elections in a row?
I think that I'm the best proof of American dream, and tell people that America is an exceptional country, which is different from some Democrats' narratives. America is a racist country. So I want to defeat her on my own merits, on my own messages. She has lots of money, I don't. But I'm hoping that I trust people of New Hampshire decide, especially 41% independents. And they're the one who actually can put me in Congress, represent them.
All right. Lily Tang Williams, thanks for joining us on Close Up. We'll see you out there on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much, Adam.